Good evening and welcome to number 8 in the Cardiff City Christmas Countdown. Tonight, number 8 is the shirt number of Graham Kavanagh, a great player for Cardiff back in the day. We'll open up the conversation. What's your first thoughts, Si, going back to think about Graham Kavanagh?
I love him, mate. I do, and I had the pleasure of sharing a beverage with him once or twice in the Tenant, where I also met my wife. But because they all used to drink in there and go in there for food and stuff, so we used to see him quite a lot. Him and Gabs and Ernie and Ernie didn't go in there so much, but like them, Campbell and the rest of them. So the first thing I think of him is not necessarily a football thing, but it's that soft Irish accent and the grey hair. And that my first football memory, or the thing which comes to mind straight away, is the free kick against Leeds. Like, that's the one in it. Like, when he lines that up and you're just looking at it and you're thinking, God, that's a weird angle. It's quite far out. And it's just beautiful. Just sails in. Keeper, no chance.
Even now, I look back at it and you look on paper at the team Leeds had that day and how we got anywhere close to them that day. If I'm right, they were top of the Premier League. Yeah. They were in the Champions League, and it's just Ninian Park was our fortress, wasn't it? In that particular game, I think the hostility. I think the Leeds players come out after the game, didn't they, and said it was they beat the Galatasaray, or Ferdinand beat the Galatasaray,
didn't he? You said it was nothing. I've been to Ninian Park or something like that.
Yeah. What about you, Rhys? What's your thoughts on Graham Cav?
I loved him when I was younger. I just thought, what a player. I mean, he was a real leader. I've heard some stories since, like he had Roy Keane up against the wall, threatening him and stuff. And then you see him on the pitch, you just think, what a different character he is. Because he looks like a gentle giant on the pitch. But someone getting stuck in his... But I think he was ahead of his time in a way, because modern footballers now, you've got a ball-winning midfielder or you've got a box-to-box man. You don't have someone who can do both. And if you get stuck in, win the ball back, link play up, or he'll be box-to-box. Just a great engine as well, and you look at him on that pitch and he's a standout player, and it's no surprise to me that the season we signed him, we went on to the playoffs, got promoted, because someone like that, you just need a proper player like that can just get everyone else around them looking better. And again, he was just a wonderful player. I remember he scored a goal, I can't remember, his old double Leighton Orient, where the ball seemed to hit him, he put his hands up, everyone stopped, and he just carried on, ran through, played to the whistle. A proper professional.
Yeah, I know. I'm not sure if I can say this on camera, but it's too late now because it's on camera. So it's
Christmas time. Don't worry about it.
So a certain journalist who I'm friends with, I'm only friends with about 5 of them, so people will work it out. But basically told me that there was another journalist at the time who was working in the local news, and something had been written or said which didn't like, and he had said journalist up by the throat, I believe, in the old boardroom in Ninian Park. So he definitely had a fiery element to him. I got to say, he's an absolute pleasure to talk to. He's a real charming guy, but on the field, he was a bit of a warrior. But he was quality, mate. Talking about players that we talked about a couple of days ago on one of the episodes, talking of players who were too good for us or too good for the Championship, he was so far above our level at that time. Much like, in fairness, that squad, which ended up getting promoted at the Millennium Stadium, a lot of those players were too good for our level, and that's why that playoff final is so special. Because if it hadn't come off the way it did, Mr. Campbell, I think a lot of them would have left, and the club might have fallen apart a little bit.
Yeah, 100%.
Which takes me back to that idea, which I've got, to make a documentary about Andy's goal, to kind of the goal which saved Cardiff City from ruin. Because I do think we might have gone on a bit of a
I think, slope. Like you said, the caliber of players we had in the squad that particular year. I think if we hadn't managed to get over the line that day, I think it's not worth thinking about, really. Do
you know, though, that Leeds game wasn't the most hostile game at Ninian Park I remember going to that season. Stoke, mate, we played. I think it was that season, or it might have been the season after, or sometime around that sort of period. There was a Stoke game, and it was rowdy, real rowdy, and But that Leeds game, the atmosphere was so good. And you could see in Cav, from the very first minute, I think he sticks a tackle in on someone, didn't he? Like after like 30 seconds, he's just like, whoop, straight in the back of him. And it just sort of set the tone for the game. And I think that's how he led. That's how he led as captain of the club at that time. And going forward, like before, until obviously he moved on, he just led as someone who led by example. And he would just, he wasn't afraid to do the dirty stuff, but quality footballer.
You mentioned there about him moving on. Was you disappointed? Obviously, you're going to be disappointed to have lost a player of his calibre. I think he moved on to Wigan, didn't he? So obviously, we've talked about Cav leaving to go to Wigan. How much did he go for in the end?
So he went for like 600 grand. We sold him. We bought him for $1 million, and then we sold him for 600 grand. Sam Aman said at the time that he was forced to. It was money was bad at that point. Obviously, this is pre Vincent Tan, pre Peter Risdale, things like that. I think there was a money issue, but unfortunately, 600 grand for a player that caliber is outrageous.
Yeah, but when you look at it then and say you think perhaps we've got a £400,000 deficit or whatever, plus his wages or whatever, but for what he'd done, played over 140 games for Cardiff, won the playoff final, that Leeds FA Cup game. Good investment?
Yeah, you got to say that. Like, he was such a tremendous player for Cardiff, like real quality player. Like everything he did. I think he score like 30-odd goals or something. And he's like something around that point. Like, he scored a lot of goals. Those free kicks, bending him in the corner all the time. He was, just an absolute legend of that. You can't begrudge these players sometimes to go on to bigger and better things. You just hope that the club will get the best deal possible, whilst also not forcing the player to move, which what happened, with obviously Joe Ledley nearly got forced to move, and it was a whole thing. But with you, Rhys, how do you feel when you look at Graham Kavanagh in a Cardiff shirt?
They were the best times for me, they were. I remember being like 10 years old watching Cardiff, and Cav was there. It's one of those, in hindsight, I would love to have seen, if he did stay, the impact he would have had on Ramsey, because Ramsey has spoken about he was in the academy coming up when Cav was there, and he was learning from Cav. I just love to have seen what the player he would have developed into if he'd stayed and he could have worked alongside Cav, because I think the impact that I've had on Ramsey, it'd be a different player today. He would be 10 times better, I reckon. I remember it just broke my heart when he left. Like, I couldn't. I think he went to Wigan. I just couldn't watch Wigan. I wanted him to lose every week. It just destroyed me when he went there.
Yeah. But again, it's another conversation we've had in previous podcasts about a player with such an ability and players looked up to him. Again, why can't we have somebody like that in the building for the younger players to kind of bounce off, really?
He doesn't do it, does he? He doesn't do any, like coaching or anything. He does a bit of media work now and again, but I think
he did go into management, though, didn't he?
Carlisle?
Yeah, Carlisle. But that's the question I was going to ask you, really. So if I come to you first, say, obviously Cav was he was looked up to as a captain. He was a leader. Are you surprised then he hasn't really gone and pushed on into management? Or do you think...
I think he had a taste. I haven't really spoken to him about it, but I would say he had a taste of it and thought, nah, I'm all right, thanks.
Yeah, it's a stressful job, I would imagine, and it's a 24-hour job, I suppose. But what about you, Rhys? Do you think he could have gone on or should have gone on, maybe?
Yeah, certain players you look at and you see like a lead on a pitch, you think, right, he can influence players. And I look at Cam, I think he could have had a big impact on a young squad somewhere. He could have gone to a League One, League Two side, and I think he could have done a fantastic job on a crack there. Shame he didn't come as a coach to the club, because again, he wanted your legends in around, even if it's not the first team, the academy. And again, we keep saying it, we got all these players, he should be working with youngsters week in, week out. The impact he would have, I just think someone who's been and done it all, someone who, the players he had around him were all men and leaders. Imagine him with the kids as well. Oh, that'd be...
And even if it's like, you've got the academy age groups now from like, I don't know what it is, so you might know, it's like from under sixes all the way up. And even if they have like a Legends Day whereby a player like Cav comes in and spends an hour with the kiddies, under sevens, under eights, under nines, or whatever, I think that would be really good and something for the young kids to look up to as well.
Yeah, the other thing with Cav as well is like he's got so much knowledge to give. But it's not just about his football knowledge; it's the journey as well. Coming up in Ireland and then moving over to the UK, and that's knowledge and experience that you can impart on players who are going to, especially at this day and age, like young players, they move in earlier and earlier. Like in terms of age, you see, we've lost the striker, the Welsh Italian striker Gabriel Biancheri. He's gone up to Manchester 15, 16. So they're not even waiting for him to break in the first team now. Really, the big clubs will. If you've got someone who looks like they're going to be top level, they'll sniff them out.
They can afford to pay their whatever. I'm not sure how much. Is it about £1 million they paid for him, or am I making that up?
For Cav.
So for that youngster.
Yeah, it was a conversation.
They paid about £1 million for him, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think at the very least, Graham Kavanagh should be an ambassador for Cardiff City. He is like everything which encapsulates a fan favourite, a legend of the club, and you'd like to see him do more stuff.
Here's a question for you, then, just to wrap us up on number 8. Do Cardiff City do enough for past players, for the legends?
No. The easy answer is no, they don't. They just don't, and it's not like a dig at the club. It's just a fact. Like they do not do enough. However, there's an ex-players association now, which is you've got Terry Phillips, Roger Gibbons, Lee Jarman, among others, Damon Searle, people like that, who are kind of getting that together. They're getting more and more ex-players to join. And I think that's, great. And that's something which should be embraced and built upon now. They've got those building blocks in place to do that. And they're doing it, they're already doing it. But it's something which the club should have been doing anyway.
Yeah.
Like looking after those players. And you think how many Cardiff players since they retired have struggled, whether it's long term or a little bit. Andy spoke in great detail about the struggles which he's had at times. To me, Cardiff and Middlesbrough, in his case, should be doing all they can to reach out to him and see if there's anything they can do, because they were his clubs.
Yeah, 100% agree.
And if it's Cav or if it's others, that's fine. But yeah, I'm struggling. But you do your thing, man.
But I say on the football side of things, though, like we said, we've had Kavanagh, Gunnarsson, Bamba, Sean Morrison, Jason Koumas, Peter Whittam. These are some of the best players the Championship have ever seen. Some of the best players we've ever seen in the positions. And not one of them are coming into the club, work with the youngsters, work with first. There's no pathway to get them in the club, bring the experience and help develop the next generation of players. We've got Aaron Ramsey. Hopefully he'll probably be the first one to come in now and work with youngsters. But this should have been done 10, 15 years ago. The players we could have had coming through now could be a total different crop of just exceptional talent all the time.
Yeah, we definitely missed out on a trick, I think. But you've just mentioned it about Rambo. I think I've actually had Rambo up in the stands doing work for him, haven't he? He's been
doing some analysis, hasn't he?
So that's a positive. But
I expect him to be coach or assistant manager.
Yeah, sooner rather than later, in my opinion, because I just think I think I said it around this time last year when he got injured. I think if he has another one, that'll be kind of done and dusted. But who knows?
Football's a weird game. Depends who the next manager is, mate.
I throw Joe Rawls into that as well. Coming to the coaching side of the club now. I think he's 2011. I think Joe Rawls signed. I think he wanted something like that in with the academy and the first team. He knows the club inside out. Start pushing him into the coaching badges. Get him work with the club behind the scenes as well. Because like Ramsey's towards the end of his career now. He won't be a regular starter. He'll be an impact sub. He'll be someone you want around the first team. He'll be someone you want in the behind the scenes. So we need to start pushing these players to get the coaching badges, to keep them there now, retain the talent we got.
So final word on Graham Kavanagh then, to wrap up number 8 on the Cardiff City Christmas countdown. Final word, Rhys.
Cult hero.
That's 2 words, that is. But
I can't count. I'm from SC. That's a Swansea postcode, so I can't count.
Si.
Legend.
Happy days. Thanks for tuning in. I've been Matt. This is RDE and the boss man on the end, Si. That's number 8 of the Cardiff City Christmas countdown. Thank you very much for tuning in.
But wait, there's more.
How we doing, Bluebirds fans?
Graham Kavanagh here, former player and captain in 2001 to 2005, I think it was. Well, I don't think it was, I know it was. Brilliant times, brilliant part of my career. I remember signing for the club, and the support and the welcome I got was just incredible. From the very first moment walking through the door, I could feel the sense of pride and the love that the fans and the club meant to everybody in the city and around the city and the valleys and everywhere else. Incredible football club, incredible people. Absolutely loved my time there. And obviously to cap it all off with a promotion there at Wembley was just the stuff dreams are made of. To be captain, to lift the trophy, and to feel the warmth and the love from everybody at the club and from all the people in the stadium was just absolutely amazing. Obviously it ended short for me because of a fire sale, if you like. But we'll never ever forget my time there. My son was born in Cardiff. We all still love the city, we love the people. And we'll never ever have anything other than love, respect and support for the football club and the city. So wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas, and I will hopefully see you all soon. All right, take care.
Now and again, I'll just see on your Twitter some Stoke fans giving you a bit of grief. I wanted to ask you though, so obviously Sam Man, it's gone a bit sour in the latter years, but at the time, it was a magic time for Cardiff fans, and anyone who kind of denies that, I think, is just kind of focusing on the more recent history, which is understandable. But I wondered what was the most odd or weird thing that you saw Sam do or get you to do? Because there was obviously rumours of eating like sheep's testicles and all these different things as initiations. Was there anything which kind of stands out?
That was actually in my contract. That was a clause in the contract. I had to eat sheep's testicles. I swear that's the show. I was literally like, is he for real or what? And it was more or less, if we don't get promoted or whatever, and I was like, but they were the type of mad stuff that he did do. I mean, the Leeds game, everybody obviously knows, but the Leeds game was bonkers. That I'm playing a game against the Premier League leaders at the time. The stadium, I've never been in an atmosphere like it. It was nasty. It was aggressive. It was hostile. It was intimidating. But it was all against Leeds. It was magnificent for us as players. And if you couldn't play in that atmosphere, then for me you shouldn't have been playing. Period. But in the game, in the moment, we've scored. I've obviously got the equalisers, 1-1. There's 10 minutes left in the game, or it's 5 minutes left in the game. And as we all know, the majority of chairmen are very, very controlled. You know, all right, they're fans, but they sit in the director's box and they don't move. Sam's walking on the pitch and he's literally antagonising and winding up the Leeds fans like you wouldn't believe. And I'm playing the game thinking, Sam, I don't know if this is doing us any good, really. Now, as it turned out, it was, because our fans went berserk. And the crescendo noise then went again, which I think gave us more energy. And it was just, it was phenomenal. So to see a chairman commit on a level that he did, to take the mickey out of himself, you know, come down the training ground, race the lads, knowing full well he was going to lose, but it was all about the team spirit. Put sheep in his office. The sheep crops everywhere, and Sam thinks it's hilarious. There was loads of things that he done, but it was all for the benefit of us being united and being collective, and making sure that once we went and set out on that pitch, if there was a fight, we were in the fight. If they wanted to play football, we'd match them, and ultimately, hopefully, try and outplay them and win games.
Leeds never recovered, I don't think. I think that was the start of their kind of downfall from being.
It was a decline, wasn't it?
Side.